Babs, can you tell me one thing? In your life, is time going quick or long?
Quick.
Quick? Give me example.
Christmas is only around the corner. Again.
And it's only September.
And summer's gone. We've had summer already. Been and gone.
Can I?
Yeah.
Once again, most unsportive driver of the
Suck
grid.
my balls, mate.
Wanker.
Changing words, and oh, they're going at it. This is going to be good here.
He's David Coulthard. He's going to have it out with David Coulthard.
Oh, now we got
On your way, Nigel, says Senna with a tap on the helmet. Get off it, he says to the official.
Is it possible to be equal? The championship?
No, can only be one winner.
It's different.
It's different.
With the COVID thing, because
Oh, this year is crazy.
yeah.
This year is crazy. Listen, you're saying that time goes quick, so why Daytona first of all? Why you choose to work in Daytona?
The variety of work. And it changes during the day. So you never know what you're going to be doing. As you can see, it's like 1 minute I'll be doing this, next minute I'm doing that. And the variety of work, the type of work, you just won't get anywhere else. Wouldn't happen.
And what your previous job you used to do before Daytona?
I was working at the BBC as a storeman.
As a storeman.
Yeah.
So it must be was quite boring as a daily routine.
Well, it was fun working at Television Centre.
Uh-huh.
There was always plenty going on. That's why I stayed there so long. Because that again was different. Every day was different. It wasn't the same mundane thing. All sorts used to go on up there. It's quite crazy.
Mm-hmm.
My trade is interior decorator. Class A1 interior decorator. That's my actual trade.
Ah. So how long you with Daytona now?
I'm not sure, but since about late 92, I think.
1992, this is when you started.
Part-time.
So it's nearly 30 years with Daytona.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
And is it was in your life anything was anything suited with the racing, or it just was a spontaneous choice?
No, I went there. They opened up opposite where I was working. I was working at the BBC. They opened up opposite.
It was a Shepherd Bush, yeah?
Yeah, Shepherd's Bush. And so, and a friend at work said, "Oh, there's a go-karting place across the road. We can go and have a bit of fun during lunch break. Do a bit of practice." So that's what I did, and then that was fun. The go-karting was fun, but they were brand new and they didn't have anything built properly. And I said, "Oh, I can do that." So I ended up building it.
you ended up building all the all the circuits.
Yeah. Well, not so much the actual circuit, but all the carpentry work they needed doing in the grandstand areas, all the electrics, all the fabrication of stuff.
So that days, Shepherd Bush, was the only Daytona circuit.
Yeah.
And later, what comes up? Was the Sandown first or Milton Keynes?
Pass on that one. I can't remember.
Okay. But did you used to work with on the both circuits? I mean, like to set it up the both circuits?
No.
Only Sandown?
I used to come here and when they had a problem and just sort out problems. It was already built. I mean, they bought a running track.
By the way, how was your results when you came there as a customer? How was your lap time? I don't know, result if you remember it.
Oh, you mean how quick was I?
Yeah, how quick you was?
No, I was. I learned indoors. I learned to go-kart indoors on very slippery surface. So I learned drifting, pull it in and then drift it round. And that was the style that I learned. Of course, when you go outdoors, it's totally different. Totally different. So the only time I excel outdoors is when it's raining. When it's raining, I leave them behind because I'm used to all the slip.
This is where you can find the grip better.
Yeah,
rather than
they used to call me Puddle Pickett. My surname's Pickett, so they used to call me Puddle Pickett. Whenever it started raining, when we were outdoors having a bit of fun, it started to rain. Where's Bubba?
By the way, why Bubba? I know that your full name. By the way, can you tell your full name?
Yeah, John Bernard Pickett.
John Bernard Pickett.
Yeah, the
Why Bubba?
Jim Graham, Charlie's brother. When we were running race meets, and he had a bit of a sense of humour, and he used to use initials for people.
Okay.
Rather than give names out on the radio quickly, he would just say JB or whatever their initials were. And, but he used to call me Big Bad John from the BBC.
Big Bad John from BBC.
BBC, yeah. And
that is completely even not your initial.
yeah. And as I say, he had a sense of humour. But then one night he was there going Bubba Circuit. Bubba, so he was doing the initials of all of that, and it's going Bubba, and then somebody just shouted out Bubba. So there you go.
So this is how it turns out as a Bubba.
Yep.
Wow. So you started straight away on the circuit as like a maintenance circuit, or you've been marshal?
No, it's marshalling. Yeah,
marshalling.
For fun. Yeah, I used to marshal.
How is that? Was that days? Can you tell? Because now I can see Daytona as a like a well, not like, but it's a very professional company. Well, I'm working there as a marshal as well, and I can see how everything set it up on the circuit. How was that days?
Number one, it's indoors, which means it's hectic. The outdoors is calm and slow for the marshalling.
Yeah.
But indoors, you're in those confined spaces, and your reactions have to be instantaneous. And carts used to tip over a lot in those days and catch fire.
Tip over?
Yeah, but they used to have bright tyres and turn over, and then they catch fire. So you had to be there, bang, bang, bang. So it was really hectic. Plus, you might have 50 races to do in 2.5 hours.
What?
5 drivers. They used to run heats. They didn't do that many endurance racing. It was heats.
What?
So you got 5 drivers out, 5 in the pit waiting, and then chum chum chum. So it was all buzz 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 and go.
How many red lights you run a day? To stop drivers go crazy.
They were normally tame enough, but it was always tyres clipping and carts flipping over. They didn't have bumpers all the way around like the Dodgem cars of today. It was open wheel racing. Open wheel racing, so indoors. I'll ring him when I get there. That's Charles.
Oh, right. So the tires, was a big tires, like a lorry tires, or smaller?
Well, car tyres, large car tyres.
Oh, large car tires.
So then they went into putting plastic strips to glide it, so you didn't. Because when you hit tyres, they suck you in.
How long was the circuit?
I don't know. 28.5 seconds or something. No, 18 and a half seconds.
So it was somewhere like a 400 meters.
That was for the first track. Then they opened up. They got the unit next or punched through and made a longer circuit. I'm not sure. That would have been twice as long then.
All right.
But they ran them separately altogether, whichever.
Or you're gonna get the wood for the Marshall post as well?
No. No, I'm just going to get a pack of screws and some glue.
Just to make a ramps?
No, not even for that. No, that's gone by the way as well.
Got it.
I better ring Charles back.
Yeah, go ahead. What are you looking for?
Well, there's spray tack adhesive, you know, they use for carpets.
Or which one goes underneath the carpet?
Yeah. Silicone, that one's expanded foam. That go with it, you know.
Is that not out of this one?
No, it's... Sorry?
The green box by the green blue.
This one?
Green wood blue. Third shelf down. Left hand side. And the green box. Haven't seen these today.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's mitre. Mitre. 50 mil wheels. Is that enough? No, it's 85.
This is smaller box.
Yeah, smaller box, but it's got the thinner.
So it's going to be more of them.
The 60s, 50s, I would say, not enough.
You're going to come back for that spray?
I'm just trying to think where I could go and get some spray, but there isn't any anywhere.
Home base?
Yeah, but that's, you know, time I get there and what's about.
Yeah, Babs, I know that at Shepherd Bush, Daytona Indoor, you build something interesting. TomCat.
TomCat, first one.
First one. So it was a few generations.
Yeah, well, no, they were always the same. But the first one I built.
Oh, so this is like...
This is number one.
Number one.
There's a centre pot on the plate there. We did 3 to start off with. Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching.
Wow.
Centre pots. Didn't get numbers.
Okay, first of all, tell me what was idea of building this chassis?
Strength, reliability, drivability, like a proper go-kart, not just like a... and so it all flexed.
Mm-hmm. Is that was already... Like you had the plans that you're gonna build this chassis and make it as a indoor.
Yeah, an indoor
corporate karting.
And a corporate kart. In other words, strength. I mean, as you can see, it's still in one piece. I have that's. I know it's an old tube, but that's been replaced. That tube, and that's where they used to give way there, and then you just put a new tube in. But they would last for yonks, like years.
Wow. And how many you build them in after the first one?
Lost count. 25
for Daytona.
And then we built some for other tracks.
So other trucks used it as well.
Yeah, but not. Spitfire in Hayes, which is gone. And mainly Ireland. The Irish tracks had them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you went like national-wide, like inside the UK.
Yeah, but Charlie was always particular where they went.
How many you could build them? I mean, how long it take you to? Let's say the karting circuit asking you for a fleet, like 15 cars. How long it would take you to build?
About 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah, it's all hand built. So in the jig, hand braced. So about 4 weeks for all of it, and of course everything was bent and it came in tubes.
Yeah.
Then we had to make up all the various parts.
So you had that tube bending like machines.
Yeah.
And how long Daytona used TomCats?
They actually gave up on them before their demise, and they sold the ones they had.
So when they moved to Acton, they moved with this fleet, or
way before Acton.
Way before Acton.
Because the whole of engineering had changed over, and everyone comes in with new ideas, and we can do this. They couldn't do this, so you end up getting. Well, I can't remember which manufacturer came back in, but so they went over to a standard manufactured go-kart that was corporate, but not this.
And why you decided to build the chassis? Where wasn't enough good chassis building
No,
companies?
because the only chassis at that time, there were no corporates, because the business was brand new. Indoor go-karting, like nobody does it. So you were using race cars.
Who was
chassis.
manufacturers that days for the race cars?
We started off with Doug Shepherd, which was, I think, called Anderson. And that was a beautiful chassis, but it was a proper racing chassis. But of course, every time you hit it, it starts breaking, bending. Yeah.
And then you just trade it.
Yeah, so this is T45, British X-rayed T45. So it's constant all the way through. There's no hard spots, soft spots. It's all, and it's got a wonderful memory. The metal will flex and flex and flex and flex and flex.
So it has a good handling.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say this was designed to flex and handle, as it should do.
And I've seen that you had wraparounds. Well, I mean, you don't have wheels wraparounds.
No, we just had bumpers at the front, which did actually, hence that bit there. There were metal bumpers on springs. The springs go in there. Metal bumpers that came round to here and then just covered the front, literally onto the front, so that you wouldn't clip anything with your tyre. But then that was open, and then just had all standard side pods.
And at the back, just a metal one.
Just a flat.
Flat one.
Metal. Which once again came out to just where the extent of the wheels, but the wheels weren't that far out on this kart. This kart was very boxy. Normally you've got small, narrow front with a wide back. Well, this didn't have to have the wide back. So it was only about 1.5 inches wider at the back than it was at the front,
so it was like
which is pretty
square.
It's unusual for a go-kart.
And is that was built for Honda engines, or that?
Honda 200s.
Honda 200s.
Yeah.
You couldn't put nothing different on the Honda 200.
Well, you could, but the Honda 200 was the bulletproof engine, which for indoors the way it goes, and these went around corners so quick.
Well, I can imagine
that you didn't lose all that speed. You lost some, but you didn't lose. So you had the momentum coming out of the corners. So you didn't need the oomph. You just needed those motors to keep high rev.
And in the circuits, mainly, you just dub on the brakes. You never have a hard braking on in the circuits.
You would you try not to brake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might flick it sideways, get it sideways, and then counter it, and then use the drag.
So as soon as it catches the grip, you just go for it.
Yeah, you just give it a flip, catch the grip, because it will twist and then it will dig in, and that will slow you down naturally, but it will give you maximum speed around the corner. You don't have to guess. You don't have to try and find that maximum. Your tyres grip and tell you.
Have you ever tried the new chassis, like a junior chassis, which is more stiffer?
Yeah, they're too stiff. Yeah,
and I think it's more slidey these days.
Yeah, and it'll be unpredictable. 1 minute it's going to grip, next minute it's not. It's going to be jumping around. And
so you can
the
say
new chassis of today compared with a proper racing chassis or a chassis like this, which was made to be like a proper racing chassis, you could feel it.
But as I understand, these chassis it's been built on the knowledge of a racing chassis, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why it's more soft and more flexible.
Yeah, and you need that for the tyres to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
In the right way. If the chassis won't flex properly, then your tyres can't sit on the floor as they should do. Not that I'm saying you should have both. You shouldn't have two rear tyres on the floor going around corners. You should be on one. Your dog leg should be up.
The inside is always up.
Yeah, it should be off the floor. Doesn't matter how much, as long as it's off the floor, because you've got no diff, so it has to freewheel around.
I don't think
if it's too stiff. If it's too stiff, you're going to have both of them sitting on the floor, and then they're just going to be fighting each other trying to get around the corner.
And sliding.
Sliding, yeah, because you want to get it onto those outside wheels and then float it round.
I don't think that we can do something with our Saudis now.
Well, they're built for the job they're built for. and that's for
But it's difficult to lift up the inside wheel up there. I mean, too much weight on it, too much safety, which is
safety. Yeah, they're built for safety.
Yeah,
but still, you get an experience. You still get a buzz. Don't you?
Of course,
if you've not driven a proper race kart chassis, then you're not going to say in a soda, you're not going to say, oh, that's not like a real one, because you don't know what a real one's like, but you know that you've been going around corners hanging on for dear life, So you still get the experience, don't you?
That's true.
But you get a machine that'll survive. But these used to survive quite amazingly.
How was easy to maintain these chassis? I mean, to service these chassis comparing to
when
these
they
days?
first went into service full time, when they had a whole fleet, they would be on a Monday morning. It's shut down for a Monday morning. Take the rear axle off, clean up all the running gear at the back, wax the chain in hot wax. Yeah, put all that back in clean, and then a nut and bolt through, and then that's it for the week. Off they go for a week.
And it was okay. I mean, unless the customer didn't damage it.
Unless somebody, crashed and smashed, which you have a job to do. But apart from any real damage, otherwise they just went off for the week.
Wow. And is that only your idea or someone else?
No, I used to have a lovely fella, Gordon Coventry, bless him. He was the mechanic. He was a motorbiker as well, so he knew. But between us, he came up with some ideas. I came up with others. We changed tubes around. We've got an old broken Anderson chassis, and then glued them back together the way we thought they should go. And so we ended up with that.
Wow, that's nice.
And away it went. In fact, that is an Anderson. That piece there is off an Anderson. This steering column here, I nicked that off an old Anderson.
So you made it, or you just nicked the complete bit?
Well, this was the first one, so we used old bits.
Oh, you just put the old
That
bit.
was off an Anderson. But when we run out, we made our own. But
and I can see you made these connections. Is that just to make it stronger?
Yeah, well, two. The brake master cylinder was on there, so you had a rod straight from there onto the master cylinder.
All right.
But one on the other side, as you can see, for that purpose, is to stop. Basically, it's a triangle.
Yeah.
Same as these triangles here, these three here, and those in there. Well, putting that tube in there in the right place, and it stops this tube here from collapsing and going backwards.
Listen,
although it's gone a bit, maybe a little bit, but you could. In other words, you could replace these. I call them wings. These two tubes could be replaced. That would still be there. With a normal cart, that would have bowed out. Where it gets hit at the front, it would have just that would have collapsed out.
You know what, you're telling me now about this card, and I can see, like, even now you're excited about your baby, you know.
Yeah, she was. I mean, it was. Yeah, but she worked.
But you know what? I have a question. Why? What happened with the light?
The sensor up there has got it.
We need a light. TomCat. Why this name, TomCat?
Not too sure.
Who came up with the name?
I can't remember. It just appeared one day. The name appeared. I think it was a customer of ours who used to have an interest in watching what we were doing in engineering. I think he came up with it.
So that means that with the time you became as engineer there?
I used to, as is today, getting a chassis changed by the manufacturer is far too long-winded and doesn't always work. So I decided, along with the mechanic that was there, see there's a hardware shop there, and I'm wondering, shall I try in there?
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Common Garden.
Trouble is, I'm going to park up illegally. There you are. Got it.
Oh, nice one. So that chassis, the TomCat, as I understand, it's it's been used only at Shepherd Bush, or they haven't been used at all?
Yeah, no, it was used at White City. Yeah,
White
Shepherd's Bush.
City, Shepherd Bush, yeah. And when Sandon Park opened, it's never moved to the Sandon?
No.
Is that because they used only pro carts?
No, it's because they'd stopped making them by then.
So what was the whole idea?
Can you keep an eye out for us?
Yep.
Up front.
No one? No one?
Beautiful.
Yep.
How did she know I was going to do that? Yeah, no, they'd stopped making them by.
Why? Is that because it wasn't that good, or it's just because it wasn't any point to do them for outdoor?
Well, they made Rob Graham, Charlie's cousin, built a twin out for outdoors using the same mould, as it were, the same type of. And then I was busy doing other stuff at that time. I'd moved away from the engineering, and I was busy race directing and doing all sorts. And then eventually Rob Graham left, so that kind of fizzled out.
All right. So they built it twin engine chassis.
Yeah.
And how long they used that? They used it at the Sandon Park.
No, they never actually got to build fleets. They tried it. They did well with it. But Rob basically left Daytona, and so it never progressed.
So it just was like a one copper car as a as a show car.
Yeah.
Got it.
There you go. You're back on.
Here it is. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, why project didn't went alive? I mean, why it stopped? I mean, you made the chassis for the other karting circuits in Ireland, in UK, but why it stopped? I mean, because look at the beast.
Daytona was brand new, and it was evolving through, and it had a large engineering workshop where it could do stuff. But then as work increased, in other words, on track every bloody day or every day, the workload was so heavy they didn't have enough time to spend in engineering.
But I mean, wouldn't be useful to get like 2-3 people concentrated just on this? I mean, look at the beast cards now. What else chassis we have? Saudi chassis, yeah. I think Birol making 4-stroke chassis. It's a huge company, and I think that day Daytona was the only one who started it.
Yeah, but this is bespoke, whereas the others are generic. They cater for the generic market, so they've got a massive market area. These are more of a bespoke, hand-built. Well, I mean, they're all hand-built. I mean, don't get me wrong, even the Saudi, everything's hand-built. What I meant was, these are they're designed to stay flat, and they just work.
To be honest,
and they're expensive because that tubing's expensive. You can buy a cheap T45, but you buy the expensive one. People wouldn't want to pay the money.
It's more difficult to bend them if
No. It'll bend. Well, it's hard, but it's not really difficult to bend, but it's going to cost more money for the tube.
Yeah.
A lot more money for the tubing.
But I mean, because it costs a lot more, is that because it's stronger, or what is the reason?
Because when you're cutting it on the machine, it doesn't matter where you cut, it'll always feel exactly the same. Same amount of pressure on the grinder. It'll always cut through exactly the same everywhere. If you buy the cheaper European stuff, 1 minute it won't cut through, the next minute it goes through like butter. There's no consistency. The British stuff is to a much higher spec, and so it's it's more even all the way. So you can imagine if you had a European piece of tube and this piece here was weak and that one on that side was really stiff, well, the whole balance of the thing is going to be out. So you want the same kind of...
Okay, got it.
And that goes all the way through the chassis because the whole of the chassis matters. It's not just one bit.
Yeah, so you
The
need
box
this.
section at the back has to flex correctly. So you want that evenness all the way around. And as I said, this has got a brilliant memory, so it doesn't stretch and crease like cheaper stuff. You know, like a coat hanger.
Yeah.
You stretch it, crease it, stretch it, and then it falls off. But
Yeah.
if you get a different type of steel, you can do that all day. And that's the same.
When you first time drove it, what was your feelings?
When I first drove it,
Yeah.
it was like, well, yeah, you've done it. There you go. Success. You've done it. And no one's ever...
For how
done
long
it
that
since.
feeling was, or you just after half an hour, you was like, okay, we can correct this.
No, because every time you went out and drove it,
Yeah.
you got a buzz, didn't you? You got a buzz.
Nice one. May, you know what? It's really looks amazing. And you know, as you said, before Daytona, you've done nothing with the motorsport, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we can say that Daytona kind of inspire you?
What do you mean to do this sort of thing?
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity to. Yeah, I always make things. I'm always making things in some way, shape or form. But it gave me the opportunity to.
And this is something
I mean,
new.
it's nice to do something that no one else can do, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to get
Although Doug
quicker.
Shepherd, I mentioned his name earlier, he was a genius. I mean, you look at my brazing, and it's as messy as it gets. Mind you, this was at the very beginning, but it's really messy. If that was a Doug Shepherd braze, it would be like scales on a fish.
Wow.
All of these bits would be like a piece of work of art. He was a genius, and he made brilliant race chassis, but he just didn't want to get involved in the corporate stuff.
And when you moved to Sandown Park, how long you've been with the Shepherd's Bush, White City, Daytona?
White City closed down and moved to Park Royal.
Are we okay to close the window a little bit, if you're okay with it?
Yeah.
Right,
They moved from White City to Park Royal.
To Park Royal?
Yeah.
Ah, is that the West London?
Mhm.
That I think it's Acton, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You moved with them together?
Yeah. And but that site then closed down. What was it? I forgot what they called it now. Something Octagon. Octagon Motorsport bought Daytona. And they didn't really have the interest in karting, really.
So that day Daytona already opened Sandown Park, or it still was only
Yeah,
indoor?
it had Sandown Park, and I think it had Milton Keynes already. So Charlie took it back when Octagon decided not to bother with the karting,
Oh, so he sold it and then took it back.
and then so Charlie bought it back. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And when you moved to Sandown Park, when does that happen? When Acton closed?
Yeah, pretty much within the same year I came back. I don't know when that was, 2002 or something.
2000. Oh, so you've been about 10 years with indoor karting.
With the outdoor karting, yeah.
No.
Oh, you mean before?
Yeah,
coming
before,
outdoor?
yeah. And what? You started as a marshal and you
Yep.
moved all the way to the race directoring.
Yep.
And when you moved to the outdoor, what was your duties?
Oh, I was maintenance and fabrication.
Just maintenance.
Project managing and stuffs. Installing stuffs.
Do you like more outdoor or indoor?
I like the outdoor in the summer, I like the indoor in the winter.
That's a good. But I mean, in maintenance wise,
It doesn't really make a lot of difference.
Yeah?
No.
Okay, let's say about driving, racing.
Indoors.
Indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it suits your style, isn't it?
Not just that, it's far more demanding. You can't get it wrong on a corner. You get it wrong on a corner, you're in a barrier.
Oh.
So to get the maximum out of a track, the maximum that you can do out of a track, you've got to be That's the margin of error.
You know what I found on indoor circuits, even if you have a bit slower car, well, sometimes, you know, you don't have maybe top end, you know,
Yeah.
or maybe sometimes you have a car pulling left or right.
Yeah.
I noticed that on indoor circuit it's much easier to catch even the faster car.
Yeah, because you need precision.
Yeah.
And a good style of karting. Outdoors is it's too much reliant on just power. Put your foot down and go. Cornering doesn't really work that well, unless you get into the.
But if we speak about Milton Keynes is really technical circuit. I mean, it's a lot of corners up there.
Yeah, and of course Milton Keynes track was designed to train people how to drive. Adverse cambers, and that was all designed to make it difficult.
Oh, so the Daytona CEO already had the plan to build that circuit as a training circuit.
It was already built before they bought it as a training circuit. It was a single-seater training track.
And when Daytona moved there, that became pro kart.
Then it became go-kart, yeah.
Have you driven both of them, and Sandown and Milton Keynes?
Yeah.
Which one you can say your favorite?
Sandown.
Sandown.
Yeah.
But wait a second. You just now said that you like lots of corners.
Yeah, but if you go around a circuit twice, you've done twice as many corners.
That's true.
Yeah. Just keep going round. You'll come across them. They'll appear as you're driving along. So it doesn't matter how long a track is. You just keep going. It's as long as you want it to be, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's just circle.
Sandown's got some good technical factors to it as well.
I'm more than sure you speak about turn 4.
Turn 4 I've never got right, but even turn 8, I mean, I don't go up curbs.
Really?
No.
You try to keep the car as smooth as possible?
Yep.
Can you remember your maybe best lap time with the pro karts?
No, I can't now.
Or it always was just for fun?
I really can't remember. It was always just for fun. Yeah.
Listen, when you worked as a marshal on indoor circuit, after work, did you often get something like to have a go half an hour?
Every night, yeah.
Every night?
More or less.
My god.
More or less.
I wish we would have the same on outdoor.
Yeah, the difference then though was that the boys, this is going to sound wrong, but the staff deserved the fun. It was all new, and the staff was the people's characters were so much closer with the customers. It was so it was important that everyone was on a good time.
Yeah,
because that reflects.
That's true.
Pick it up, and they worked really hard. And I'm not saying they don't anymore, but I'm just saying it was just a totally different atmosphere. So yeah, we used to do. But if you bend it, you mend it. So if you broke the car, well, you weren't going home till you fixed it.
Exactly.
Ready for the next day.
And I think this is where is the easiest part with indoor, and this is where with indoor you can like have a more go on a go-kart to have a fun as a marshal, because outdoor, first of all, you're looking after the carts, because on outdoor you have more chances to damage it.
Yeah, there's a lot more wear and tear at hand.
Yeah.
Whereas indoors is a lot kinder.
Yeah, and indoor, it's indoor. Like even if you finish, like let's say 8 o'clock, you kind of close down and just have a friendly go with all marshals. Where on outdoor, it's a little bit impossible.
Yeah, well, plus the fact there were no curfews. I mean, if we finished at 1 in the morning, we carry on.
Yeah, you've been in a estate area.
Yeah, it was not an industrial estate. It was Marks and Spencer's type of warehouse type thing. You didn't have to worry about neighbours.
Yeah, exactly.
So So you just carried on till you wanted to. You could drive there all night, nobody would know. None of the local residents would know you were riding all night.
So that was good fun that day. You know, Babs, what was your dream before Daytona?
Never had one. Just enjoy what I can. Yeah, whatever opportunities come along, enjoy the ones that you want to.
Any target now, dream target in life?
No, my only target in life now is to live longer than my LED lamps that I've just bought. 40,000 hours, so as I fucking outlive them.
Babs, you've been with Daytona nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
What this place means for you now?
Not much really. It's a nice place to be, but you kind of grow beyond things. You know, it's like, you know, somebody goes out and says, oh, I've got to buy that, and they buy it, and then it's like, okay, I've got that. And then, now what? So you wait for the next nice thing to come up in life, don't you?
So anyway, being so long with Daytona, I mean, all the people who is here, of course they've been changing,
Yeah.
but the main people is the same.
Well, no, there's only Charlie.
Only Charlie.
Yeah, from the original, there's only Charles.
So you can say that from the old family, nothing left.
Yeah, they've all gone. All moved on in life. Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
In their own different directions.
Maybe that's why at the moment it means to you.
Yeah, that's right. It's
like
not,
a job.
It's not like it's just a nice place to be in the day. Yeah, because people come, people go, and they move on in their lives, and that's it. And so it's what it is for the moment. It's not like, oh, this is my family. You know what I mean?
I have a final question. Is kind of a super question. If God would exist, and he would say you can choose either become someone popular, famous, and whoever you want, or you can repeat the same life. What would you choose?
I'd repeat the same life.
Why?
Because there are certain people in my life that I wouldn't have met, and that is priceless. Meeting those few people is priceless.
Well now, James, they've changed the regulations concerning the airboxes and the wings, and yet you're still extremely fast. How do you do it?
Big balls.